Hi, guys. Welcome back to Rick Ingraham Talks to Strangers. We're back. You know, the dream is alive. We might not have even missed any weeks. I'm not even sure on how this all goes. We didn't? Great. Then everything is smooth. Everything is normal. Nothing to see here. I like to think of it as a nightly show. And just because it only comes on once a week most of the time doesn't mean that it's not. I do this. I do this every night with or without a recording studio. So we have Kayla Hardy. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Kayla Hardy, how are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
You came to a live show, is that right?
I did.
All right,
yes.
I was going to say, I'm like, I know her from somewhere, but
yeah.
You came to a live recording of this podcast.
Yes, I think it was one of the first ones.
Possibly. Yeah. All right, well, thank you for coming. Thank you for going to the live show. Did they have to pay you or anything to come to that?
No, I think I had to pay, actually.
Nice.
You mean
nice.
I could have gotten paid? Well,
I don't think they really paid anyone. I just always assume when we do one, I'm like, what are we going to...
Who did we bribe?
Sneak a bunch of...
Yeah.
One time we had this guy who owns a pizza shop, and I'm pretty sure he's also a murderer.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, you know, it's not always...
The perfect crime. Yeah, no one
In a
would
lot of
suspect
ways it
him.
is.
Yeah.
They're like, he's a pizza delivery
Is the
guy.
pizza good? I mean...
He didn't even give us any pizza. Now that I think about it...
That's the crime.
There probably was no pizza shop. This guy was just a clear murderer. We're on to you. I don't know if you listen. Probably not. I don't think he doesn't have the internet.
He's too busy. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the facts that I have about you, and the first one is a little girl who kicked you in the crotch in the first grade got murdered.
Actually, that's two separate scenarios.
Okay.
She didn't kick me in the crotch.
Okay.
But she did throw those wooden building blocks at me with her friend, and those are pretty heavy. You know, it was like daycare and.
Is this like Lincoln Logs? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
here?
but they're the heavier ones, like
they're
the sandy colored ones that have the little arches and
they got
whatever.
The triangles.
Yeah, that stuff, like the real weighty ones, right? And I was in the trenches trying to dodge it. They just started throwing them at me. I was new. I was 7.
Where did this take place?
First grade class daycare.
Where in the country?
I'm from the Valley, so it was in the
This
San
is
Fernando
Los Angeles
Valley.
proper.
San Fernando Valley.
They're tossing blocks?
Yes.
All right.
Throwing blocks at me.
She's throwing blocks at you. Someone else kicks you in the crotch?
That was another school, another time. Yes. Someone did.
All right. So
and that was a guy.
A guy kicked you in the crotch.
Right, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then which one of them got murdered and which one of them needs to be murdered?
The blocks girl got murdered.
Okay.
And I think Robbie's still alive.
Robbie.
Yeah.
Listen, if
and
anyone
the
out
pizza
there...
guy's available.
Yeah.
I mean...
If anyone knows a Robbie and they're not 100% on whether or not he was in the Valley, at some point, murder him.
Yes.
It's probably... Yeah, I mean, if they were ever in the Valley,
no rush.
At any point, just murder all Robbies. No rush.
No.
So Robbie's all right in hindsight.
Yeah, just wait. let him suffer on Earth a little more.
Smart.
That's the real punishment.
What a pile of shit that Robbie is. I hope he lives forever. Then, if we're going for the slow torture,
yeah, he probably will.
Do we have any facts on this girl who got murdered? Do we know? Is there a story behind it, or was it just a random murder?
It was random. I mean, she was a grade above me, and she apparently the story because it was on the news, and that's how we found out about it.
I want to know, could I see this on KCAL 9?
You probably could.
Nice.
Yeah, it was probably KCAL 9, and if I'm understanding correctly, it was a neighbor in the apartment complex. She was playing.
Classic.
And
how old was she at this point?
8, I think.
Wow. So she's throwing blocks at you, and she doesn't even get a couple years after that before swift justice.
I think it was that year, yes, but I don't remember being happy about it when I found out.
Most people aren't.
I feel like awkward.
Yeah,
because my parents were like, "Hey, that's your school. Do you know that? Do you know that person?"
Right.
Or they asked me, "Hey, do you know that person?" And I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know her. And then they're like, well, look, apparently she was murdered outside her apartment. And that's why we don't let you, play by yourself or do anything because my parents
More
were really
rules.
strict. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they were like backing up their crazy overprotectiveness based on this story. And I'm like 7 sitting there like, like
When people get murdered, a lot of times people really fancy up their life. They're like, what a great person. They did so much for their community.
Right.
What I like about this one is real piece of shit that got murdered.
I mean,
I don't know anything about her, but she threw blocks at you.
that was the impression that I got for sure. And this memory comes up for me every so often because I'm just like, you feel guilty that your only interactions with that person was bad.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna think you did it or some
No.
shit. I don't know.
They can't all be role models and honor students.
Right. And she was young, I get it, but yeah, she was one of those kids. And
Damn.
I'm like, oh man. And it was pretty bad how she died too.
Yeah. They usually are.
Yeah.
A lot of the murders,
Right.
they aren't as
So,
beautiful as it seems in the movies.
Just getting shot it does look cool in the movies. This was not that.
Glamour murder, that'd be a good show to pitch. I don't know if you guys have any connects in the industry, but if we could really focus on glamour murder, I think this would be a hot show.
That might be
Headline
a
news?
snuff category already. I mean,
Listen,
I wouldn't know.
I like the way you said that. Suspicious things going on already. Now, another fact I know about you is that you were kicked in the crotch with a cowboy boot.
Yes.
Listen, there's a lot of crotch kicking going on in your life.
Yeah.
Is this a standard valley?
I don't know if it can be attributed to that. I think it's a me thing.
Yeah.
I just think that I'm targeted by random violence. And
People look at you and they go, hey.
This was a frame up. I was in
Okay.
kindergarten, I
All right.
think, and this guy,
Some rough years in the formative years were not.
those were hard times. People look back on that and glorify it. I miss playing with blocks. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
But yeah, this guy, everyone had a crush on him, and he was blonde, and
Tale as old as time.
I don't know what business someone from California has wearing a cowboy outfit. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he wore the vest, the hat, the bolo tie,
Oh, yeah.
those metal tip cowboy boots. He did the whole fucking thing because somehow that's appropriate for little boys no matter where you are.
No,
I don't know.
It's never okay, but
No,
especially in the
no,
valley.
Not in the valley.
Unless you're in the Simi Valley, in which case...
No, it wasn't Simi. No,
It's a
please.
Simi
I
tuxedo.
have some pride of where I'm from. I'm
All right.
from Reseda, so
Nice. Yeah.
trashy,
Yes.
small part of the valley, and exactly
You
the
got
Karate
it.
Kid. And so my friend liked him and had a crush on him, and he was bent over in the sandbox or something. And so she,
As cowboys do.
yes, rattling up whatever.
He was looking for rattlers.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was looking for the snakes.
Yeah.
And she kicked him in the butt and pushed him down and then
Hilarious.
took off. And I was standing there like, a sucker. And he turned around, thought it was me, immediately kicked me with that cowboy boot.
Damn.
Like right on the pelvic bone. Like, I'm not even kidding. And I was just like, what the hell? And then he immediately had remorse for it too. Like he knew
What a pussy.
what he did. I know. It's like stick to your guns.
Yeah, if you're
man.
gonna be a cowboy, live up to it, hit women, do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
The fatal mistake in this scenario was as soon as you turned around, you should have punked him, just giving him like a,
Yeah.
and it would have intimidated him a little bit. And then when he was like, "What do I do?" That's when you kick him in the crotch,
Right.
put him in the
Yeah.
sand, rub his face in there, make sure he gets pinworms, the whole
Oh my
saga.
God. Give him lice, all that.
All I remember about sandboxes growing up was my mom would be like, "Don't play in the sandbox. That's how you get pinworms." I'm like, "What are
Yeah.
pinworms?" She was like, "It's butt lice." I'm like, "Oh my
Really?
god!"
Oh man.
So
I didn't know
don't.
that.
I have no idea if that's true. But if you're at home and you're having itchy ass, stay out of the sandbox. This is more like a PSA than a podcast at this point.
It's like a Brokeback Sandbox.
Yeah. So you said your parents were strict. What kind of rules did they enforce that you felt were unfair at the time?
Well, I wasn't allowed to stay over people's houses.
Ever?
Nope. not at all. No sleepover parties.
What's
That was a main thing. Yeah.
what's the ethnic background of your parents?
My mom is Peruvian, so that explains a lot of it. And she's from another generation too. She's technically, she's a baby boomer,
boomer.
like officially 1946. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, I mean, a lot of people talk about, no Peruvian sleepovers. That's something that's very well known.
Right. It's a cultural thing.
And so mom was she didn't want you staying over there because she didn't trust you, or she didn't trust parents?
I think her
friends?
story was she didn't trust parents. She probably didn't trust me. I mean, she wasn't.
There's a lot of crotch kicking in your history. So.
Yeah, so a lot good it did, right? Just making me
protect you at
miserable
all.
at home. Yeah.
If you had been able to stay over a couple nights, people wouldn't have been like, don't kick her in the crotch.
Yeah,
It's cool.
they would have known. They shouldn't do that.
How long did it last? Was it high school, or are they still strict?
Oh, up till college. I mean, she threw me out of the house in college. She's fucking crazy. I mean, sorry.
All right. So is she a fan of the podcast? Can we?
I mean, I don't think so.
Would she be unhappy that you're on a podcast?
I don't think she knows what a podcast is.
Perfect. Let's talk about mom then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, great. How much time do you have?
We're gonna do an hour on mom, if that's okay. This turns into a very Maury Povich scenario most of the time. She's actually here. Bring mom in.
I would love a DNA test to tell me she's not the mother.
Yeah.
I mean,
You've just been listening to a random Peruvian woman for the last.
I'll be like, no, that's my origin story.
And then dad.
Dad, white trash,
Nice.
just
Why'd you look at
LA
me when you
white
said
trash.
that? Like,
You know, it's a little
my
different.
dad. Yeah.
It's
You're
LA
familiar
white
with my
trash. I
That
think you're
is a-
Midwest.
that is
trash.
a
I'm just
different brand.
kidding. Right, it is.
It's similar,
It's
but it's
desert
definitely
trash.
different.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like chaparral trash.
Yeah.
We're technically not a desert. Someone corrected me on that one time.
I was in Palm Springs a few weeks ago, and I was more than impressed with the trash that they're putting out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Very old trash.
Yeah, it's a bizarre place because there's like hardcore Trump trash out there,
Oh yeah.
mixed with possibly the gayest gays. And
It's
they
so
seem
weird.
to get along, and I think they get along because it's too hot to fight.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, like if we can say anything about our future doom under climate situations, it's that the hotter it gets, the harder it is to fight.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's going to get along once we're slowly dying
Right.
on the planet. But
I agree.
all right, and so how did mom and dad meet?
They met at Glendale College, apparently, on the bus.
Classic.
Taking the same bus, yeah.
Dude, such a white trash move.
Yeah.
Pick up women on the bus.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
He made his move. He was like, hey, I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to go out to dinner, but if we can catch a bus, we can.
Something like that. Asked for her number. She gave him the wrong one.
Damn.
Off to a great start.
Yeah.
But then she felt bad.
Okay.
That's what she says.
Yeah.
And so gave him the right one.
All in
After
one.
the bus stopped.
Oh, so it's like-
eventually, I guess.
She gave him the wrong one and then chatted a little bit longer. It was like, I should have given this guy
Yeah.
the right number.
She's like,
Let me get some of that
it's
Glendale
a white
College
guy,
D.
so I mean,
So just being a white guy, that upped his chances, despite being a white guy on a
think,
bus.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're on the bus.
Wow.
And she was really short, and so he was tall comparatively.
How tall was he?
The things women care about.
Yeah.
He wasn't that tall. Everyone thinks, oh, your dad must be tall, right? He was 5'8", but my mom's
Wow.
like 5 feet.
Right.
So
That's huge.
yeah,
Wow. And do you have siblings?
I do.
How many siblings do you have?
2.
So mom and dad, are they still together?
No.
No.
Thankfully, but death do they part. That was how
okay.
he got out of it. Yeah.
All right. Fair
He
enough.
passed away.
Got it.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? Oh, dad's dead. Okay.
Yeah.
He was like, this
Hey, man.
divorce, that sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
Right. I think that's what they felt back in those days.
Yeah. It
They
was
were-
a different
They were
time.
married in 68, you dealt with it.
Yeah.
You know?
You're like, what were the vows I said again? All right, there's only one way out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Smart.
Religious people they were, yeah.
Were they Catholic?
Catholic, yeah.
Dad as well?
Yeah.
And did you guys have to go to church? You had to do all that?
I did, yeah. I went to Catholic school. Well, yeah, sometimes my mom would be like, I don't have to because I've sinned, but you need to go. Like,
bullshit.
so I'd walk there and just sit on the steps and not go in
Smart.
for an hour just to get away.
Yeah.
And then I started going in because one priest was kind of hot. But other than that,
Damn, did you ever make your move?
no,
It's weird.
I want to say it's because I was underage, but really it's because I was chicken.
That's never
you know?
stopped a priest
No,
before.
I know.
The
I
thing
probably
about
wasn't his type. Yeah.
is like if only you had a penis to kick.
Yes.
Yeah, the Catholic Church is weird in that way.
Yeah.
Because if you fuck a young boy, they'll just move you to the next town.
Right.
But like, I was technically Catholic. I went to
Mm-hmm.
church a few times a year, grandma's birthday, Easter, Christmas, that kind of ordeal.
Part time. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a part-timer. But my brother sent me an article a couple years ago. Our priest got excommunicated from the church, and I was like, damn, how many kids did he fuck?
Yeah.
And it turned out that he had a consensual relationship with an adult female. And the
Yeah.
Catholic Church was like, get this sick
Draw
pervert out of
the
here.
line. That's where they draw the line. I bet it was like
If it had been a dozen little boys, I'd send you to St. Louis. But
Yeah.
instead,
it was a healthy relationship
Yeah.
too, probably equal share and
they're not into that.
responsibilities. Yeah.
You've been to over 20 countries. Not to change the subject from kid
Yes.
fucking. I know that's our main subject here. What led you to travel? Choice? It was just for leisure?
I think a big part of it was, I mean, again, I was so restricted. I couldn't do much. I couldn't go out, bound at home with my parents being overprotective. But when my dad passed away when I was a freshman in college, it was like, oh, I got an inheritance and now my mom's going to pretend to be like, live your life because of what happened. And so I just ran with it because I was like, hey, he was someone that always was like, we're going to wait for retirement. I'm going to do all these things when I retire. But he died before he retired. And I'm just
Right.
like, fuck it. I'm just going to go all the places
Nice.
I wanted to because of movies. He was really into movies. So I'd watch a lot of movies and saw the places they'd went. And I was like, I want to see that stuff. So it's kind of an addiction, I will admit. Like, I can't afford it. And I've been in a lot of debt because of it, but I don't care.
Yeah,
I
life.
mean, I'd
You
rather
only got
regret
one
that.
life to live, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the worst place you've visited abroad where you were just like, this is terrible. Why did I come here?
Abroad. Okay.
I like you said that, like, there's a spot in America, you know for sure.
I feel
What's the worst place in America? Yeah.
I think it might be Niagara Falls. I mean, I just went there.
It's
and
pretty
I'm like,
underwhelming.
why? Yeah, I think this country is just, I don't know.
My-
Unless you're here, the big cities.
Yeah. My biggest problem in Niagara Falls is that the American side sucks and the Canadian side is the cool part, and that should never be the case.
Right. That's what I said. That's why I refused to go on the Canadian
Yeah.
side. I was like, fuck that.
They're like, it's way better over there. I'm like, why don't I just spit on, George
Right.
Washington's grave? And so, all right, Niagara Falls, I accept that. Very underwhelming experience.
I don't want to say this country is the worst. I mean, I went to one city. I just think it was the trip itself. But
Yeah.
I'd say my worst trip abroad would have been when I went to Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably didn't do it right. I mean, but I don't give a shit about paella. I hate gazpacho.
I don't even know what any of that is.
It's exactly, you shouldn't.
What's
it's
paella?
It's a dish there with rice, and I think they'll put shrimp and like
Disgusting.
one of a Spanish dish, gazpacho's cold tomato soup. Because
Ugh.
I don't know why that's a fucking thing. And
Yeah, I don't do that stuff. I'm out.
And like white Spanish people, I don't need that.
Yeah, no one respects that.
No.
It makes you go, oh, so you came and you raped the indigenous
Yes.
to make
That's
better
exactly
people.
right.
To get the Spanish out of your blood.
Yes. And then they have an extra level of arrogance because a percentage of them are Catalonian. They're not even,
Right.
they don't even consider themselves Spaniards. And
That's one of those, we're our own people, and Spain's
Yeah.
like, no, you're not. Pay your taxes.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Barcelona, never been. Don't plan on going. Peaked with the dream team in 1992. That's really all I know about Barcelona. Was
Okay,
that
nice.
we whooped the world's ass at basketball back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Barcelona?
I think they do, yeah. I
That's what
don't.
they call it. Barcelona?
I refuse to.
Savages. And what?
Right.
Ibiza, they call it.
Yeah, Ibiza.
What's Ibiza?
It's another
An island, yeah.
Disgusting.
Party place, yeah.
Spain, you're out. Don't ask me to come there. I'm not coming. You got your little rice and shrimp dish that I'll never eat. Can we change the name of the podcast to Taunting Spain?
Please.
I challenge you to a duel, Spain.
King Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Columbus are out.
Yeah. He's hanging out in Spain?
I
think he was
he's
Italian, but he worked for
he
Portugal.
went for Spain. Queen Isabel.
Oh,
was
yeah.
it? Yeah.
For the trip, right?
What a loser. What a
Yeah.
loser. Why don't you just go murder the indigenous people everywhere, Spain? That was on your dollar.
They didn't even do their own dirty work one time.
No.
You know, they sent an Italian. What can you say?
So disgusting. And our America is far worse
Yes.
for the Italians that came here. You hear me?
Yes.
You hear me, Italians who work for other
Thank
people?
you.
Thank you.
I needed someone to say that
yeah,
again.
it's rare.
I don't care that you're eighth generation. Shut up.
Yep.
Like, be against them again. Can't
Listen,
we? Come on.
I've been promoting hate for the Italians for a long time.
Yay! Is he really?
It's something. It really is. They're a despicable group of people, and
Man.
the ones in Italy I understand are a little handsy and aggressive, but the ones in America are really the ones that you're like, you're trash. Stop acting like you're European. You're just trash. Whose great grandpa came here because he couldn't fucking make pizza or
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
What else can Italians do? What else are men who are 5'2" made to do? Wait, hold on.
Jockeys?
Winks, you're
I don't know.
Italian?
Uh-oh.
I take back everything I said. As long as they're winking, it's cool. What's the best country you've been to? Or the best place. Doesn't have to, part of the country could have sucked, but
Right. Well, my favorite place, it was just unique. I went to the Amazon part of Peru.
oh wow.
So, and that was just, and I was by myself. I think I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old. One of my earlier trips. Went there with family, but they wanted to go to Machu Picchu. I'd already been there. So I went to Iquitos, where you go and get the Amazon River part. And I stayed in one of these lodges, and I was like the only one staying there. So it was kind of scary, and it was very Jungle Cruise like a padlock on a wooden
Nice.
Eeyore house door, kerosene lanterns, and I saw a lot of cool stuff. Went on like a hike, which I could no way do now. I don't know how I walked in that humidity and heat, the layer of mosquitoes in front of me for like an hour, but I did it. Yeah.
It's like 95% humidity at all times.
Oh
right?
yeah.
How hot is it?
That day it might have been in at least the 80s, which for that is still pretty hot.
That's feeling like 95.
And you can't wear shorts or anything because of the mosquitoes.
will
So
eat
I
you.
was just like drenched and
I went to Florida a couple weeks ago, and
yes,
I can
somewhat
relate.
similar.
the only time I was outside was from the airport to the car, and I got
Like, no.
I probably had 8 mosquito bites.
I'll bet.
And then they dropped me off at the hotel, and I was like, I'm not leaving until I have to go back to the airport. And it was I'd say it was worth it, but the problem was even indoors was Florida. And so
Yeah.
there was a bunch of Florida inside there as well. And it was a terrible experience.
What part of Florida?
Hollywood, Florida.
Oh,
I was at the Hard Rock,
I was going to say the
Casino.
Hard Rock
and
casino. That's all I know about Hollywood, Florida.
yeah, people were like, "Oh, you should go do this and that." I'm like, "I'm gonna sit in my hotel room and I'm gonna watch Forensic Files until it's time to go do a show." And I just really got into murder.
Yep.
By the end,
Florida.
yeah. Listen, a lot of that show takes place in Florida, so I kept waiting. Like I'm going to see someone that I saw earlier today. When I went down and got my breakfast, there was at least 5 or 6 people, and I'm like, clearly a murderer. better go check it out so I can get their full story before I call them in. But yeah, I can't deal with humidity and I can't deal with mosquitoes. That's what I learned. It's a bad thing for me.
Yeah, they're not fun.
Best part of California by far is that there's very few bugs.
Mosquitoes have
We don't got 'em.
invaded. They have invaded.
They have?
They're in Pasadena, and they're those invasive ones. And
Yeah.
I was like, why am I dealing with this shit?
Yeah.
Why are they thriving?
I lived in Sherman Oaks, and I had this old neighbor. I think she was Persian. She spoke a foreign language, so I never understood what she was actually saying. But at one point, she was gone, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened to her. And then I ran into her daughter, and she was like, oh, my mom died. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. She goes, yeah, she got bit by a mosquito in her apartment and died of West Nile.
Oh, man.
And I was like,
yep.
I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I just went back in my apartment. I'm like, these bastards are out here.
They are.
And then my wife got home like, yeah, so our neighbor died of West Nile. And she was like, what? And then I realized like, oh, I should have just not said anything because now I'm
Right.
just causing unnecessary anxiety. And I still never saw a mosquito again. But the
Yeah.
one in the area,
Just takes one.
yeah, it had the good stuff. Took care of it. Listen, I'm a big believer in at a certain age we gotta put them on the iceberg and send them out to sea. It's not a popular view, but at the same time, I'm trying to
I'm
save
of that
Earth.
view, yeah.
So, when COVID started and they're like taking out the olds, I'm like, my plan is working.
Right.
I don't want to take credit for COVID, but at
Right.
the same time, I don't want to say that I wasn't for it at the beginning.
Right.
I was like, this could be all right. We'll see. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and Sarah's going to ask some more questions.
Okay.
And try and streamline this into conscious thought and not just me talking about murder in Florida for a while.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. Thanks.
Say hi to everyday people.
Hi, guys. We're back. Woo! What a break. Incredible times. Just a lot of exciting things that we can't talk about just happened while we were off the air. See how I'm selling it?
Yeah.
Sarah's here.
I'm here. Yeah.
here.
Welcome back.
Thank
I mean, we never
We
really
never left.
We never left, but I'm just saying hello to you. I feel like Kayla is like your long lost sibling. Like you two might be
It's possible.
really like
Connected
I think,
through negativity?
Yeah, I feel like you guys see eye to eye on
Yeah.
everything, and that's a real first for this podcast.
You can tell with Kayla that she knows the world is a terrible place. And I
Yeah.
respect that, I'm tired of people being like, but things are actually all right. You're like, you just told me a 20-minute story about being in prison in a foreign country. Things
Right.
are not all right. But with her, you can tell. She just knows it's all shit.
I mean,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Are you for sure that little girl got murdered?
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't your parents just trying to scare you?
No,
Okay.
no. It was on the news, and then I looked up because I almost was like, it was so long ago. Did it happen? And I looked up the case, and it happened.
So you went to school, but she didn't live close to you.
I think she did. I mean, she lived in the valley.
I mean,
a lot of us did. Yeah,
close enough.
But yeah. I mean, yes, it could have been any one of us, right? But I didn't
Right.
live in that apartment
Beautiful.
complex, thankfully. But
Right. But so it wasn't random, like the guy was like stalking her and
I'm not sure about
Yeah.
that because I believe they didn't find anything else. Like he didn't have prior victims.
it was like a
or
one-off.
cases and
He just got sick and tired
And
of
he was
listening
young,
to skateboarding
too.
in the
Yeah.
alley behind the building. I'm not justifying this guy's murder. I'm just
No.
saying there's plenty of
Did you
reasons.
see it on Forensic Files? Are you trying to relive?
I
the-
wish that I had. The great thing about a case like
Wish that I
this
had.
is that Forensic Files would lead us for 15 minutes on the wrong path to someone who had nothing to do with the murder. And they'd be like, did she have an enemy? Well, she threw blocks at a little girl who was a year younger than her. And then they would focus on her dad for a solid 10 minutes. And they'd be like, but DNA test made it inconclusive. And you're like, so was it him? And then they'd spend the last 30 minutes telling you exactly why it was this other person, like a lot of DNA. And you're like, why did we talk about everyone else? I watch a lot of Forensic Files.
I do too, and
Yeah.
I've curbed it a little bit because I have now listened to some other like true crime stories
Yeah.
podcasts. You know, they're like 8 episodes and they follow one murder.
Sure.
And I'm a big fan. I'm not really a fan of the murder. I'm a fan of the planning. I'm just like a woman in that way.
The planning of the murder?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Nice.
that's what women are interested in.
Like murder window
And
shopping.
guys-
or
I
something.
like watching men be bad at planning.
We're always bad.
Yeah, and they get caught. So I have
Yeah.
a theory that all cold cases were done by women. That's just how good we are at planning.
Jesus.
But
This cracks things wide open.
now you can look at it. But a lot of times, like their, blood spatter evidence, it's all like junk science. It's not really
Yeah, it's just
proven.
it's a guy with a hammer who's like, all right, so that's
I'm
the
pretty sure that's the way it went
Yeah.
down. You're like, no, like people are wrongfully. So they'll use forensic files and say, like, they did a whole story on it being this guy and it wasn't him at all.
You're telling me Forensic Files is providing inaccurate information about. Wow,
Sometimes. Not
this
all the
changes
time.
everything.
Not all the time.
I wasted my entire trip to Florida on Forensic Files, only to find out now that it wasn't him all along.
I don't think it's a waste to ever watch Forensic Files.
Good point.
Kayla, do you watch murder at all?
I don't.
Okay.
you
She's
know,
living
I
it.
live
She
it.
doesn't-
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not drawn to that stuff. I will say it kind of disturbs me. I'm just like, I don't.
Sure.
I already.
That's
I don't
normal.
know. I know life's terrible. I don't need more reminders.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do like watching other people be miserable. I think
Amen.
serial killers are too happy sometimes,
Yeah,
Right, because they have
That's
an
what-
outlet.
that's why I
They're
didn't.
too sure
They
of
have an outlet.
themselves. I mean, like,
I never
fuck
trusted
you.
that Ted Bundy because of that smile.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
just bask in the terribleness of what you're doing.
Oh, I would never trust a good-looking guy. Like, what? I don't
Amen.
understand.
Amen.
Like, you're hitting on me.
Yeah.
What? No.
I like that.
Like, something's up.
Self-deprecating and at the same time
Something's
so
up.
right.
Yes.
Good-looking guys should just be put down the moment they were born.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Well, what do you watch? What do you like to watch?
Let's see. I like that show Barry.
Oh.
That can talk
Wait a
about
minute.
dark
Isn't that a
comedy.
It's about murder, but it's,
I know.
it's fictitious
well,
murder.
he is a hitman. It's different.
Yeah,
He's
it's a
not like
professional thing.
deranged,
Yeah.
and then he wants to change his life or whatever. I do like that kind of dark comedy. I will say, but like the real stuff, like listening about real like murders and stuff, that's not my thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's got a Futurama tattoo
yeah, I do love Futurama.
and Calvin and Hobbes, so that's
and
pretty
I love
sweet.
Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No.
I think
Hey, you guys are bonding.
society,
You got a minute?
yeah, society really started crumbling when people stopped knowing who Calvin and Hobbes were.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
agree.
like I said something to like, I think they're like 33 or something, and they were like, "What's Calvin and Hobbes?" I'm like, "All right, we're done talking," and I murdered that
They're
person.
like that little kid that pees on Chevy logos.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's like,
really what
why?
it represents. They don't even know that's what it is. They just think some
Yeah.
dude has a random picture of a little boy peeing on Chevy logos, which makes it even creepier.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think that trend started in Florida, by the way. I
Yep.
could be wrong.
Always does. Worst of the worst.
Mud flaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about your siblings? Are you close with them?
So they're a lot
Good
older
answer.
than me. They're like other parents, basically. Like they were
They're a lot?
teenagers when I was born.
Oh.
Yeah. So my oldest brother's 17 years older than me.
Oh yeah, I didn't put it together. She said your parents were
Yeah.
married in '68.
Yeah.
You were born in '87. So
And
yeah.
then my middle brother's 14 years older than me. So I would say it was like having more parents. I mean, I didn't see them as father figures, but it was still more people that could just tell me what to do and
didn't respect you the
yes,
way you felt. You
yeah,
earned.
they don't take me seriously that much. So the generational gap, it's kind of hard. Like I wouldn't say I'm their friend, but I do still care about them, so to speak. Surprisingly,
Listen, you're
That's
not
like
on.
the most emotion she's shown
Yeah.
yet.
one's
so
Trump
I trust her.
supporty, the other one is a nurse and isn't Trump supporty, but still thought China's responsible for the
Cool, cool, cool.
COVID. So
As a
I'm
nurse.
I'm
Well-
just like.
Cool, cool.
Who's to say they're not?
Right,
America
right.
handled things perfectly.
Exactly.
And the only way that this could have happened is if there was a larger conspiracy.
He moved to Ohio. I mean, who
Terrible
leaves
plan.
LA to Ohio?
And listen,
to be
anyone
a
who's
nurse?
ever seen me do comedy knows Ohio is right behind Florida on the worst places in America list.
I put them before
You do.
Florida because
At least
Florida at
Florida
least has
has-
beaches
Yeah, that's a
that
good
are
point.
nice and alligators. I like reptiles. I don't know.
A great way to get rid of a body, by the way.
Yep.
Alligators.
Yep.
I've learned a lot.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the pigs of the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Water
They'll
pigs.
eat anything.
Yeah. So were they not protective? Like when you got kicked by a 9-year-old cowboy, they didn't do anything?
Well, I didn't tell them, I think. I don't think I even told my mom. It was weird. The teacher just had me go into the room and pull my pants down to look, and I'm just like, this is awkward as hell.
To make sure you were okay.
Yeah, but then
Is
they're
this a Catholic school?
No, but it was a private preschool kindergarten. But then I'm just kind of like, well, what does that prove? You're just staring at it,
Yeah.
like
Right.
you're not really.
That doesn't
You're
look
not
like
really
a kick
seeing
crotch to me.
anything. Like I don't know, looking at a car without lifting the hood up. I don't know. Like
Sure, that's
it was
a good
just
way of-
awkward. I think that's why I didn't want to tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
I could.
Because like this could actually.
I definitely didn't go and tell my brothers I was kicked in the vagina today.
Yeah.
But it stuck with you. Like it's a
Oh
memory
yeah,
that you have.
yeah. See, I
That
don't
is-
share stuff with family. No, it's always
Only
my
on a
fault.
podcast.
At the end, yeah, they're not going to see this. Hopefully,
Yeah,
like
they won't know.
I'll tell strangers my personal life details.
Nice
but-
to meet you. Have I told you
No.
about the 2 times I was kicked in the crotch?
Exactly. I open with that. But yeah, I'm not trying to get victim blamed at 5 or whatever
Yeah.
by these conservatives.
Sure.
Bastards.
Sure. And then you said your dad was big into movies.
Mm-hmm.
What were the movies that he loved that inspired you to want to travel?
So I guess he was really attached to movies that he would see when he was a little kid. And so those were pretty old, like 50s, 60s movies. And ones that inspired me, I guess some Sophia Loren movies. Sorry to bring up the Italians, but they were in some nice places like Naples.
She's
and
one of the
stuff, or-
attractive ones.
Yeah,
We'll let her stay.
he loved Some Like It Hot, which was Marilyn Monroe.
yeah.
And they were supposed to be in Florida in that movie, by the way. But
Really?
yes.
Don't care for that movie
But
anymore.
they were actually in San Diego, so it's okay.
Nice.
It's okay. The Coronado Hotel
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
filmed there.
The
Yeah.
Dell.
So I like a lot of old movies, and then they always go to cool stuff. That's why I went to Niagara Falls, but that was a mistake. Another Marilyn Monroe movie called Niagara. I think it was a lot nicer in the 50s. It's not now. But
A lot of people don't talk about how Marilyn Monroe wasn't that great. But
But you are going to dive into
now
it right
we are
now.
at a crossroads.
Yeah, here we go.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
I
All of a sudden,
thought
their
we had
relationship
something.
is...
No, I get it. I appreciate opposing opinions if they have good reason.
yeah, my reason is based, and this is probably a terrible reason, but the amount of girls I've met who told me that Marilyn Monroe used to live in their apartment building
Oh yeah, that's
made me go, there's no way that this is
That's
true. What a
not
liar.
her fault.
Yeah.
but I guess it is.
I blame her.
Yeah.
She could have just
Someone has
left
to be responsible.
a list of the places she lived so that we could verify some of this.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, she just died. And
There are a lot of men who could verify where she lived.
that's
you know?
probably
yeah.
true. When I moved into an apartment in West Hollywood, the manager was like, famous people have lived here. He was Russian. And I go, oh, really? Like who? And he goes, fallen and can't get up lady?
No.
I swear to God. That was his sales pitch. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
go, yeah,
She
all
fell
right.
and couldn't get up here.
yeah, the Life Alert lady died in my apartment.
From West
Oh,
Nile?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
also
would-
West Nile.
I thought you were talking about Steve Urkel for a minute from
Oh,
Family
yeah,
Matters.
that's right.
Didn't he say that?
He
Yeah.
said it as
Like,
a
did he
tribute,
think
an
she was a
homage
woman? Oh,
to
okay.
the Fallen and
That
Can't
was
Get Up
some
lady.
like pastiche or something.
Yeah, that was them
going on.
playing with like, hey, this was cool in the 80s and it's 93, so let's reference it. Yeah, so that was the claim. And then we moved in and like 2 months later we started like talking to our neighbors and they were like, do you know who lived in your apartment? I'm like, I've heard. But again,
I know.
landlord was Russian, so you can't trust them. They're really the Italians
true.
of
East
Siberia.
Europe. Okay, yeah. Of Asia. Ooh.
Siberia.
Yeah, not to be trusted. My point. Listen, we've always been anti-Russia on this podcast, and now it's even stronger. I would say we stand with you, Ukraine, but at the same time, you guys are also kind of shady. Just FYI.
Did you tell the Marilyn Monroe apartment girls that the life alert lady was in your apartment? Or?
Listen, the moment they told me that, like the first time I heard it, I'm like, whoa, that's cool. And I'm like, this is kind of an old building. All right, I could see that. But then at the second time, I'm just like, full of shit. She bought into this. Can't talk to this girl ever again because she's full of shit and she's willing to believe the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
So I can find any reason to not talk to people ever again. I'm really good at it. It's like one of my superpowers, I guess, just being like, never have to speak to them again. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm
Point
sure
is,
your
Russia,
parents-
you're trash. Italy, you're trash. Barcelona, garbage.
Yes.
Okay.
Making
long
enemies.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way,
Florida?
paella is basically just like Spanish fried rice.
Oh.
It's like their version of fried rice, but with seafood.
Not
But like
into it.
every kind of seafood. Like
Not into it.
All
Okay.
of it.
No seafood for me.
they make a vegetarian. That's not the selling point. It's
Right.
Not, it's the fact that he would have to eat a meal in another country.
Oh,
That's
that can't be
I
right.
think is the problem. And they cook it in a giant like wok type thing.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Make mine by itself. I don't want to be eating food that other people are eating too. That's wrong on a lot of different levels. But foreign food is gross. I went to Chipotle in England. It was terrible. It's just like have some standards.
Chipotle. Why was Chipotle in England terrible?
Oh, that's another place. Yeah.
Yeah.
England.
Oh, the
Yeah.
food in England is not good. So if I saw
London.
Chipotle, I'd be like, oh, things are looking up.
I was really excited. I hadn't eaten anything for like 3 days because they just put mayo and butter on everything over there. And I was like, all right, some Chipotle at least. I know the diarrhea I'm going to get from this will remind me of home.
It'll be home diary.
Yeah,
Not travelers.
exactly. Not that vacation diarrhea.
That's the whole level, dude.
Yeah, so apparently because of mad cow disease, they just burn the shit out of all their meat in England. And it's just like
Oh, is
standard
that
practice. Like,
Oh, yeah. They overcook it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
like-
thought they liked shitty food.
no. Well, I mean, they apparently do.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
They're one of these countries that
They must.
they call ham bacon, and I can't get behind someone who does that.
It's part of the reason we came over here, I think.
Exactly right.
Like-
it's exactly
Bacon,
Yep.
I'm done. I
Yeah.
was willing to tolerate my lack of religious freedom,
Yep.
but
Wait
That's
till you
fried
go
ham. We know what it is.
bubble
It's
and
fried
sweet,
ham.
whatever the fuck that is, I gotta
Different
go.
cut. Yeah. Wait till they give you the light when you do shows in London and they call it a torch. A
That's
torch. Yeah, they call a flashlight a torch.
Jesus.
It's very archaic.
I don't have
so
to.
backwards.
Yeah.
There's no lights. I have my performances are so bougie. There's a countdown clock on the stage letting me know how many minutes I have left to insult the crowd. It's next
Time's
level.
up
Yeah.
in many ways.
That's actually what it says at
Time's
the end.
up.
Yeah, it says time up. And then I find one last really ugly loser and then hit him hard.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's right. Their time's up too.
So in England, beware because there's a lot of ugly losers over there.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I can't wait to see where this goes
Yeah.
and where Kayla ventures to next. That's all I have.
Kayla, is there anything you want to promote?
Well, we covered the anti-Russia
Yeah.
and anti-Italy.
Yep. Those are the main things.
I think so.
All right.
Who else?
Do you have
we need
social
to trash?
media
I do.
that you
yeah.
want to promote?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to
Where
see me
can they
hating
find
on
you?
things,
That's what my audience is
I'm
into.
on Instagram talking shit.
Nice.
And my, what is it? My
Your handle?
handle is, big surprise, Kayla Hardy is bitter.
Kayla Hardy is bitter.
Yes, with
Nice.
periods in between each word, but
Okay.
whatever. They'll find
Yeah.
it,
All
I
right.
think. Yeah.
It's great. That's how I found her. I
Nice.
just looked up bitter and then I was like, "Who?
Ooh,
This
wait.
would be a great
This
guest."
is perfect for Rick.
I hope I'm the first person that comes up when you type that
Oh yeah,
in.
you are. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. You
great.
should get a check mark event. Just for that.
yay.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, you were great. Thank you. This is really fun.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening, guys. Tune in to the next episode. I don't know how to end this.
Yeah,
Just
no.
keep hating out there. Make sure that you do it for the dumbest reasons possible. And if you have a good reason to hate, that's an issue with you. So just hate for dumb reasons. Thanks.
Bye. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, please DM Ingraham Pod on Twitter. That's INGRAHAM Pod on Twitter.
Bye to everyday people.
Special thanks to the Comedy Store and to Brian Rips for the dope-ass music.